This past week, I reread one of my favorite books, and it's called The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter. This book has shaped some of my thought process on how I practice medicine, and it's also influenced some of the things that I do personally to try to stay healthy. And I wanted to highlight a couple of things from the book that I think are particularly valuable and encourage you to consider reading for your own education. The Comfort Crisis book by Michael Easter has a premise that we live in a world where we have lots of comforts. We have air conditioning. We sit in soft couches and chairs. We have nice, comfortable beds. We work in environments that are controlled. We drive where we go. And some of these things are great, but our health is maybe adversely affected by all of these comforts. And we need to maybe recognize where we could do things to be healthier that are uncomfortable and hard, and that might be good for us. One of the things that is mentioned is the value of nature, being out in nature, being active in nature, hiking or hunting or any maybe taking a walk in nature. And there's a lot of value from a variety of standpoints into embracing being in nature, and maybe you look at your schedule and find time to disconnect and to be out in the wild, even if it's just the park next door, and really take in the value of being in nature. Another principle in the book that I just find is wonderful to think about. Historically, humans have been movement generalists, meaning they did all kinds of movements. They crouched, they walked, they carried loads, they had to take care of themselves in a variety of ways. In our current society, we've lost some of that. People sit at a desk for hours at a time. Some of us are doing the same movements with our hands hundreds of times a day in the operating room. Elite athletes are performing the same movements over and over and over. Our bodies aren't necessarily meant to do that, and we see a lot of injury because of that. Lower back pain did not used to be nearly as much of a problem when people carried loads and had to do work, but they were movement generalists. Whereas now, where we sit in the office all day and then maybe go to the gym for half an hour, we lose some of that. And I think there's some really good, valuable insight in the book on that principle. A final one, and there's lots of examples in the book that I thought were so valuable, is boredom is dead in our society. If you even think you're going to be bored, you pull out your phone and look at social media, or you check your email. I mean, you're in the grocery line, and that's too much time to be waiting sometimes to even have to reach for the phone. But creativity and the ability to sort of allow our minds to rest and reflect is lost in that environment. I find with my own work, I come up with all kinds of ideas and thinking that I think is valuable when I disconnect and I go for a hike, or I go for a bike ride, or maybe just a walk around the block. And embracing boredom and not just always being connected to our devices and to the latest news of the day or the cheapest and most available form of entertainment has a lot of value. And so for a variety of reasons, maybe we should consider embracing boredom. It's a great book. There's a dozen other wonderful examples in the book that have a lot of value for general wellness, and I would encourage you to read it.